Attention passionate Atlanta, Falcons fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC South and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Atlanta Falcons' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Atlanta Falcons fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Atlanta, FALCONS FANS. Let's get to the news. Now, folks, if you've been paying attention to the NFL landscape lately, you've probably seen that the NFC South is shaping up to be one of the most unpredictable, competitive divisions in the league. And for Falcons fans, this is an exciting time. The offseason has brought a lot of noise, a lot of speculation, and some intriguing moves that could seriously alter the division's power dynamics. And I promise, what I'm about to share with you today might be the most impactful development yet, one that could determine whether Atlanta takes a giant leap forward or faces more hurdles in its quest to reclaim its place at the top. Let's start by setting the scene. Atlanta Falcons, for a couple of seasons now, have been in a bit of a rebuild mode, trying to find that perfect mix of youth, talent, and experience to push them over the edge. They've got a solid core of players, led by their young quarterback, Desmond Ridder, who showed flashes of brilliance last year and is expected to take a significant step forward in 2024. The addition of DJ Chark and the emergence of Drake London as a true number one receiver have been promising signs. But despite these improvements, the Falcons still have some clear weaknesses, especially on offense, where depth and experience are areas they're actively trying to bolster. That brings us to the big news, the potential shakeup in the NFL that could have a domino effect on Atlanta's roster moves. Recently, there's been buzz around the New England Patriots and their current roster situation, particularly at wide receiver. Now, the Patriots, under head coach Bill Belichick, have always been a team that values versatility and veteran experience, but they're also not shy about making tough decisions when it comes to roster management, especially with a salary cap that demands smart moves. After some offseason additions and draft picks aimed at improving their offense, there's speculation that New England might be looking to part ways with some veteran wide receivers, and Kendrick Bourne is at the center of that conversation. Bourne, who's entering his 9th NFL season, has had an interesting career trajectory. Coming from a stint with the San Francisco 49ers before finding a more prominent role with the Patriots, he's shown flashes of the kind of explosiveness that can change a game, whether it's making tough catches over the middle or stretching the field on crossing routes. But over the last few seasons, his production has declined somewhat, and with the depth of talent in New England's receiver room, some analysts believe Bourne might be expendable, especially considering his cap hit and the team's future plans. And here's where it gets really interesting for Falcons fans. There's a proposed trade scenario floating around that could see Kendrick Bourne heading south to Atlanta. Now, I know what you're thinking. Why would the Falcons, a team looking to get younger and more dynamic at receiver, be interested in a veteran like Bourne? Well, it's all about the fit and the immediate impact. The Falcons, who are still developing their passing game, especially with a young quarterback like Desmond Ridder, could use a dependable slot receiver with hands and route-running ability. Bourne, despite not being a star, has proven he can make plays in critical moments. And for a team that's looking to contend sooner rather than later, that kind of veteran presence can be invaluable. Plus, considering the state of Atlanta's receiver depth chart, they're a bit thin beyond Drake London and Darnell Mooney, who himself had a solid first year after arriving from Chicago. The rest of the group, Javon Baker, J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, and a couple of rookies, are still unproven, and adding a player like Bourne could be the perfect bridge, giving Ridder a reliable target who can help him develop in his second year as a starter. It's not just about adding a receiver, it's about adding someone who can help the offense operate more smoothly, especially in those quick, high-percentage throws that can keep a young QB confident and in rhythm. Now, as for the specifics of the trade, it's pretty straightforward. The Falcons would send a 7th-round pick in the 2026 draft to New England, and in return, they'd get Kendrick Bourne. It's a modest cost, but in NFL terms, it's a small price to pay for a player who has the experience and skill set that Atlanta desperately needs at the moment. The Patriots, on the other hand, would get some cap relief, something they're always looking for, and a future pick that could develop into something more valuable down the line. Of course, there's always the question of whether New England will even keep Bourne through training camp. Bleacher Report's Alex K recently mentioned that Bourne might be a candidate for release, given the crowded receiver room and his relative production decline over the past few seasons. But if Atlanta can make the right offer, it could be a win-win situation. The Patriots could save some money and clear roster space, while the Falcons get a proven veteran who can instantly contribute. Beyond just this potential move, it's important to look at the bigger picture. Atlanta's offseason has been focused on building a balanced team, emphasizing both offensive and defensive improvements. They've added key pieces on defense, including some talented linebackers and defensive backs, but their offense remains a work in progress. They want to maximize Ritter's potential, and getting a reliable slot target like Bourne could be exactly what's needed to unlock some of the offensive capabilities they're aiming for. The Falcons' coaching staff, led by Arthur Smith, has shown that they're willing to adapt and make savvy moves. They understand that in today's NFL, versatility and experienced playmakers can make all the difference in close games, especially in a division as competitive as the NFC South. With teams like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, New Orleans Saints, and even the Carolina Panthers all vying for supremacy, every addition, every strategic move counts. Atlanta's front office knows this well, and if they can land Bourne for a reasonable price, it could be a significant step toward their goal of contending in 2024. And let's not forget, the NFC South has been shifting over the past couple of seasons. The Saints, with their revamped roster and offensive weapons, are looking to bounce back after a slightly disappointing year. The Buccaneers, led by a retooled defense and a veteran QB, are still very much in the mix. The Panthers, with their young core and new coaching staff, are eyeing a quick turnaround. So, for Atlanta, capitalizing on these divisions' uncertainties and making smart roster moves could be the difference between a playoff appearance and another offseason of frustration. Now, I want to touch a little on the history of the Falcons and how they're positioning themselves in this new NFL landscape. Over the past decade, Atlanta has had its moments of greatness, reaching the Super Bowl in 2016 and establishing a high-powered offense led by Matt Ryan and Julio Jones. But after that peak, the team has faced a series of challenges: injuries, coaching changes, and inconsistency. Still, the foundation remains strong, and with Desmond Ridder getting more experience, the passing game is poised to take a leap forward. The Falcons have also been smart about their draft strategy, selecting players who fit their system and can develop into core contributors. They're focusing on building a balanced team that can both run the ball effectively and throw accurately, especially in a league that's increasingly pass-oriented. The addition of a veteran like Bourne could be the piece that helps bridge the gap between promising youth and seasoned experience, especially in critical third-down situations and red zone scenarios. Looking ahead, the Falcons fans are understandably eager for a return to playoff contention. The NFC South might seem like a wild card right now, but Atlanta has all the ingredients to be a serious contender if everything falls into place. They have a talented roster, a coaching staff that's proven they can develop young players, and an offensive scheme that's designed to maximize their playmakers' strengths. The potential addition of Kendrick Bourne isn't just a minor move. It's a strategic step that could help elevate the entire offense, giving Ridder, and ultimately the team, a much-needed boost. As we analyze this possible trade, it's also worth noting that NFL teams are always looking for that extra edge, that veteran presence that can stabilize the locker room and provide leadership. Bourne, with his experience and ability to make plays in tight spots, fits that description perfectly. For the Falcons, acquiring him could mean more than just an on-field contribution. It could be about adding a veteran voice that can help guide the younger receivers and bolster the overall team chemistry. And of course, we need to keep an eye on how this all unfolds in the coming weeks. Training camp is just around the corner, and these roster decisions will start to become clearer. Will the Patriots decide to cut Bourne and save some cap space? Will the Falcons strike the deal that could give them that extra push? These are questions that only time will answer, but what's certain is that this is a story worth watching closely, especially for those of us who bleed red and black. So as we gear up for the upcoming season, remember that every move, every signing, And every draft pick adds a new layer to the story of the Atlanta Falcons. They're building something special, and with some smart additions, like potentially Kendrick Bourne, they could be on their way back to the postseason and beyond. It's an exciting time to be a Falcons fan, and I know we're all eager to see how this chapter unfolds in the NFC South saga. Pause here just for a second. If you want the YouTube algorithm to keep recommending the latest Atlanta Falcons news to you, it's super important that you leave a like on this video. Go ahead, it's quick and it makes a big difference. Thank you. Now let us continue with the big reveal. And now, Atlanta Falcons fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this potential move? Do you think Kendrick Bourne could be the missing piece that helps Atlanta finally take that next step and become true contenders? Or do you believe they should focus on developing their young core and holding off on veteran acquisitions? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Falcons. Remember, this is a community, and your insights help shape the conversation. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Atlanta Falcons news because this offseason is just getting started, and trust me, there's a lot more to come. We're heading into an exciting season, and I can't wait to see how everything unfolds. Thanks for tuning in, and as always, go Falcons!